Hello guys, I'm so excited that finally I have just received my new book, The Bible of Bodybuilding. It's a book that consists of 400 pages. You can purchase this book on Amazon, and this book contains my former other books, The PTs Using Sports and the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, plus the Training, Nutrition, Supplementation, but also including extra features, Q&As about gear, about HRT, but also a quiz regarding supplements, diet, and of course PEDs. So the Bible of Bodybuilding on Amazon, both on ebook and Kindle version.
Hey everybody, welcome to Ask Dr. Testosterone, starring Dr. George Toulianos and brought to you by his book, The Bible of Bodybuilding, available on Amazon.com, where you can also pick up this masterpiece, Real Bodybuilding by me. And now, all the way from Athens, Greece, please welcome Dr. George Toulianos. Hey doctor, how are you?
Ron, yesterday was the 1st of May. Do they move the holiday today in the States also?
What holiday is that?
The May 1st was supposed to be everything shut off.
No, we don't have a holiday. We don't have a holiday for that.
May 1st, no.
No, we have Mother's Day.
Oh, really? Because this started from Chicago, I guess so. But anyway, it's everything closed today over here because of the May 1st,
We have, do you have Mother's Day in Greece?
Excuse me?
Mother's Day? Do you guys do Mother's Day?
We have, but today is the May 1st shift postponed, holiday.
Okay, yeah, we got Mother's Day next Sunday here in the States. And then in June, we have Father's Day. And nobody cares about Father's Day. Mother's Day is a big deal. So anyway, all right, we got some questions. We don't have a ton, which is good. I think this is I like when we have 5, 6 questions. I think that's the perfect amount, but we can't make people. And the Gus Poulos saga continues. So we're starting off the week with the Gus Poulos. Says, I've taken your advice and stopped blasting. Remember, this is a guy, everybody that Dr. Toulianos convinced because of his calcium score to stop blasting steroids, and he's listening. So he says, I've been on 200 milligrams TRT for 2 weeks now, and I've lost the ability to have an erection, even with Viagra. Will this correct itself, or is there a fix?
So the answer is not that simple. It matters if you inject 200 milligrams at once. Also, it matters to optimize and stabilize the rest of the hormones like free testosterone, SHBG also, prolactin, estradiol. And then you need to implement also HCG for the sake of extra sex drive, And also something important is that because Gus has been abusing on and off for years, I guess he has created some issues in his endothelium. And because of the positive calcium score, the blood flow is not supreme. In that case, he certainly needs a phosphodiesterase inhibitor like Viagra, for instance. But I wonder if he has also some insulin resistance that will be revealed, as Thomas said, with A1C. And in such case, he needs to go on metformin to improve his insulin sensitivity and his vascular blood flow, because we know that prediabetes has to do with vascular issues also in blood supply. So Gus also needs to see his C-reactive protein if he has some inflammation and atherosclerosis, another part of inflammation. So he needs to go in extensive blood work of full blood count, his blood pressure, his homocysteine also, his C-reactive protein, also prolactin, estradiol, SHBG, free testosterone. And also he needs to implement HCG for a better testicular volume, but also some intratesticular testosterone synthesis in order to improve his sex drive. But nevertheless, TRT is 200 milligrams. It's not 2 grams of testosterone where you feel like a horse, So you need to be reasonable, but he has to take care now the rest of the issues that perhaps, most likely, he created through the prolonged abuse.
In your practice, doctor, how often do you see this happen where guys stop
It
lasting?
happens a lot. There was a guy, 50 years old. He was taking 1 shot of testosterone every day, 250 every day.
Wow.
That means 1.5 plus. And he had a lousy sex drive. So I took him down to 1 testosterone per week. His sex drive improved, but we optimized all the hormones. Okay. Also, Gus may use extra DHT, like for instance, Muscular. I know in the States you don't have Muscular, but you may go to a private clinic and get synthetic DHT in the form of cream, which is an excellent libido enhancer. And more is not better, certainly, and as Thomas said also, perhaps sometimes you need to come off for the limbic system in the brain to get, let's say, a much lesser impact, because sometimes the androgen receptors saturate, from the too much of androgen we give.
Yeah.
So I guess Gus is close to 40, so all this abuse now hits a critical time when he needs to take care of his cardiovascular health. And mind that Morgenthaler said last month that erectile dysfunction equals endothelial dysfunction equals cardiovascular disease.
Wow.
So if you don't have a good heart on, that means you have heart issues and vascular issues, so please take care of it. So the way your dick responds is majorly to your heart,
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, nobody wants erectile dysfunction, but
this is a reason why young people, when you abuse steroids, they haven't created yet all these cardiovascular issues, and no matter what, they have a hard on, crazy.
Right.
And after when they hit their 40s, you have established some disease into the endothelium or insulin resistance. That's why they don't respond to the same amount of gear.
Right.
I'm talking sexually, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think we don't respond as well to gear over many years anyway. Maybe that's the reason. Yeah. Yes. I mean, I can tell you, I don't respond anything like I used to gear. Not at all. No, those days are gone. You just mentioned DHT. That goes to our next question. I see a reliable source that has injectable DHT, 50 milligrams per milliliter. I'm trying to figure out, what would you use it for other than pre-workout or perhaps sports or before banging your woman? That's his words.
Now, injectable DHT, you can say that is the drostanolone, which is the masteron. We use masteron in bodybuilding because it's an agent that does not aromatize, and perhaps it has some slight estrogenic activity. We substitute testosterone with drostanolone the final 2 weeks. Also, it's a good way to have a libido enhancer when your SHBG is elevated and you crash it, and you liberate the free testosterone that works. But medically, it was implemented for breast cancer, because in breast cancer, we have elevation of estrogens, and then we apply something like DHT, which is the opposite, to create a balance, but also minimize the estrogenic, because back then, when masteron was available in Belgium, there were no aromatase inhibitors yet synthesized. We're just SERMs and DHT. So that's what we're using in case of breast cancer, as a chemical therapy.
Is that what Nolvadex, tamoxifen, was developed for as well? Was breast cancer treatment?
Of course. Yeah, it's an old-fashioned drug, but Nolvadex is good to stimulate your hypophysis and hypothalamus, but also it's good when gyno is already produced to occupy the receptor. But aromatase inhibitor decapitate the estrogens from day one. Yeah. Okay,
cool. Next one, testosterone propionate. That would be the fastest acting ester. Can it be administered Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or is daily the best way? Is there a difference in aromatization to estrogen with propionate compared to the other testosterone esters?
No, I've done both. I've done the first one in bodybuilding cycles and the second one in TRT. So actually the half-life is 48 hours, of propionate every other day. But you can inject a tiny amount, which is 10 milligrams, 0.1 in a frequent protocol of 0.17 times, which is 70 milligrams of testosterone propionate. Now, the benefit of propionate over enanthate or cypionate is that it clears the system faster, so it's less likely the odds to aromatize. Not that it doesn't aromatize, but it clears the system, so you have less chances of aromatization rather than Symbionate that has close to 5 days, or a week, the half-life. But the other, and also perhaps less estrogen means less water retention, what they say during cutting phase. The other thing is that you have to inject more frequent,
Right. Yeah, but
and the benefit also, I'm sorry, is that you assimilate 80%. With Cypionate, you assimilate 68.
oh wow.
So more of the drug is lost through the ester.
So if you were injecting propionate Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I would assume you'd be good during the week. The only time you'd have a little lower
During Sunday and Monday morning, yeah. Sunday.
Yeah, Friday, because you're going Friday to Saturday,
Yeah.
Sunday, Monday without a shot. So that's yeah, I would go every other day, wouldn't you?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay.
But if you go for every other day, you hit 4 times the 1 week and 3 times the other.
Yeah, I mean, it all works out. Next question is mixing things together. I like these questions. Could I mix my HCG and HMG together in one syringe? That's his first question.
I never tried that. I never suggested to my patients because we have 2 different compounds for 2 different products for this. But if you say so, I guess it could be affordable to do it because they're both water-based. All right. So we certainly can mix oil-based and water-based compounds together.
Yeah, they're both water-based, right? HCG and HMG.
Yeah, besides they have synergistic effect for the sperm count.
Yeah,
It's the best combo for two.
Those are typically in like an insulin syringe you use for those, right?
Well, actually, yes, because you stick them in your stomach, under the skin.
So those are cheap, guys. You can just use 2 syringes. Don't be so cheap. My second question is, when coming off TRT, do red blood cells, iron, and thyroid downregulate or simply reach homeostasis?
I don't know about thyroid. I don't think so. I mean, steroids and also anavar downregulates thyroid because it messes up the thyroid globulin. But absolutely, yes, the erythrocytes take a break for being overstimulated by EPO, so it's the only reason actually in order to start your replacement therapy, to stop your replacement therapy. This was the only reason I stopped it during the very first quarantine 2 years ago in order to take a break from blood donations, because we're isolated at home, everybody, and you had really not very strong stimulus for taking testosterone,
Right.
So yes, you can take a while. I mean, 4 weeks the most, to give a break to the bone marrow for being overstimulated exercise.
I just wonder when he says coming off TRT, I wonder if he really means coming off TRT.
No, this is not a good idea, and this is not something reasonable because there's no turning back. Yeah. Since your brain is shut off, there's no way to resurrect,
But what I think a lot of people, I think now they're on a cycle and they say I'm on TRT. They don't know the difference in the terminology. So when he's saying I'm coming off TRT, I think he might mean I'm coming off a cycle, because I hear a lot of people making that confusion.
Well, they have to clarify, because certainly coming off for the pros is stopping the gear but keeping testosterone.
Right.
In any way, they never come off from androgen, No,
blasting cruise. Okay, I saved the best question for last. We love these. This is a crazy sex question. I love these. I want to ask a sex question. When I was natural, I had like 600 to 700 nanograms. I got sex's total was his previous test level. Now I use 375 milligrams a week and upped it to 500 milligrams. I was 1800 nanograms. So his blood level, his test levels doubled there.
The high should be underdosed by that. Yes.
Okay. Thing is, I do it. So his English is a little spotty. I'm going to try this though. Thing is, I do it a couple times in a row before 2 to 5 years. So he's saying he can only have sex a couple times in a row now. He says 2 to 5 years ago, I was doing like 10 times a day, usually 5 in a 3-hour hotel session. Why do I have the desire, but the guy down there won't get it up? after
For
2
the
to
same
3
reason,
times.
for the same reason, gas does not respond to 100 milligrams. You know, it could be if this guy was, how old is she? I don't know.
Well, he says at the end, he's 38, he's 38 and a half.
Well, close to your 40s, maybe it starts kicking your clock about some cardiovascular disease and prediabetes. Also, check out those issues. And in such case, you're going to need the viagra and metformin for sure.
Yeah, he was asking
And
about.
perhaps a statin also, perhaps a statin to reverse the plaque.
Yeah, but I mean,
Okay.
I think he's being a little unreasonable. He's saying he can only have sex a couple times in a row, and he used to have sex 10 times in one day. And he's
Well, for me, my personal best is 5, you know.
I did 10 once in my life, and I was like 20 years old once. That's crazy that he was doing. I mean, that's very unusual, I think, for a guy to be able to finish, to have sex and climax 10 times in one day on a consistent basis.
Man, you need to spend at least 12 hours, half of the day in a room. Huh?
I don't know what this hotel room was all about. I'd like to know. But yeah, I mean, he's 38 and a half years old. I think if you can have sex 2 or 3 times in a row at age 38, you're doing pretty damn well. You shouldn't be complaining. That's just my personal opinion. But anyway, that was a fun question. I like to break it up, not just the drugs. Let's get some sex questions in there too. So guys, I want you all to remember that if you have questions for the next episode, please post them here in the comments below. You can also just leave general comments. Love us, hate us, whatever. We welcome all comments. Please share the videos, like the videos, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. And Doctor, thank you so much for sharing once again your expertise and knowledge with the world. And we're working on some guests for you guys, hopefully very, very soon. And that's it. Thank you, Doctor. Appreciate you doing this once again. And that's it. We'll see you guys right here next week again on Ask Dr. Testosterone.